Hi there, and welcome to the Daily Gardener, and thank you for listening. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's December 2nd. Today we celebrate the German reformer who added the cultivation of mulberries and silkworms as part of his schools, and the man who started the Linnean Society. We'll learn about the Salem Botanist who was a friend of Thoreau and Emerson, and the man known as the Father of Texas Botany. We'll hear the poem that takes us through the months of the year, ending with, "And the night is long, and the cold is strong in bleak December." We grow that garden library with one of the best books of the year, and it takes us on a tour of the world's best gardens. I'll start my new segment for the holiday gardener gift recommendations, and then we'll wrap things up with the birth flower for the month of December. But first, let's catch up on a few recent events. There was a great post that was shared by Dr. Rupesh Paudyal over at Talk Plant. It was called "Most Young Scientists Will Not Study Plant Science. So Why Did I?" And Rupesh shares all of his personal reasons for pursuing a career in plant science. And I love the way he opened up his article by saying, "The best conversation killer that I know of, bar none, is plant science is important because..." And then he says that the person starts to doze off and just kind of switches off the conversation. So I agree with Dr. Rupesh. We have to flip the script. Plant science needs new scholars. So recruit, recruit, recruit. Then Homador shared a fabulous Chicago residence that was designed by Dirk Denison Architects. This incredible home has a ton of green going on, garden terraces, outdoor landscaping. There's an adjacent park. The home is loaded with terrariums. That's what initially caught my eye, in addition to integrated aquariums with aquatic plants galore. And if you'd like to check out that post for yourself in the Facebook group, just search for the keyword Dirk, D-I-R-K, for Dirk Denison Architects, and that article will pop right up. And then finally, allrecipes.com shared a fabulous recipe for cheesy acorn squash. It's a nice change from the traditional sweet acorn squash. This variation is supposed to be so great that people who dislike squash actually like this recipe. And reviewers say that you should add some garlic to the sauté if you decide to use this recipe. And then they also offered a number of different substitution ideas, including using sautéed apples and onions, and topping with panko breadcrumbs or bacon. Now, if you'd like to check out these curated articles for yourself, the Plant Science Career article by Dr. Rupesh Paudyal, or the Dirk Denison Architect Home, or the Cheesy Acorn Squash recipe, you can find all of them by looking in the free Facebook group for the show. So if you're interested in joining, the next time you're in Facebook, just search for the Daily Gardener Community, and then you'll have access to all of these great articles in addition to others for yourself. Plus, as a bonus, you'll see all of that great content filter through your Facebook feed. So there's no need to track down links or try to hunt for articles. All you need to do is search for the community, the Daily Gardener Community, the next time you're in Facebook, and then request to join. It's totally free. I'd love to meet you in the group. Here's today's brevities. Today is the birthday of the German theologian and educator Johann Julius Hecker, who was born on this day in 1707. Hecker recognized that a classical education didn't work for everyone, and so he founded secondary schools that prepared students for practical jobs and callings. Hecker referred to his schools as the seedbeds of the state, from which the young, like trees from a nursery, could be transplanted in their proper places. Hecker's work attracted the attention of the King of Prussia, Frederick the Great. King Frederick encouraged Hecker to expand his efforts, and so Hecker installed gardens near his schools to teach hands-on botany. The gardens included vegetables, herbs, and fruit trees. And Hecker also taught the cultivation of the mulberry tree. This was a strategic decision by Hecker, who recognized that the production of silk and the care of silkworms would find favor with the king. Thanks to Hecker, both teachers and students tended a large mulberry plantation and learned the culture of silk and mulberries. And today is the birthday of James Edward Smith, who was born on this day in 1759. In 1784, on the recommendation of Joseph Banks, Smith purchased the entire collection of Carl Linnaeus. When the King of Sweden learned of the purchase, he attempted to intercept the ship before it reached London, but he was too late. With the collection securely in his possession, Smith founded the Linnean Society, and he also served as its very first president. The Linnean Society is the oldest biological society in the world, and during the 18th and 19th centuries, the society was an important hub for scientific progress. Today is the birthday of the Salem, Massachusetts Unitarian minister and American botanist John Lewis Russell, who was born on this day in 1808. Russell attended Harvard along with his classmate Charles Chauncey Emerson, whose big brother was Ralph Waldo Emerson. Russell graduated from the Harvard Divinity School in 1831, and he served as a minister until 1854. While Russell served his various congregations, he pursued his passion for botany. In 1874, after he died, the Reverend Edmund B. Wilson wrote a memoir of John Lewis Russell, and he observed, "Wherever this man went to fill a pulpit, the lovers of nature gravitated toward him, and he made them his allies. They attended him to the fields and ranged with him in the steep hills and the miry swamps. His animated talk and kindling eyes, as he described the graces of the ferns and the glories of the grasses and the lichens, quickened the love of beauty in them. He imparted stimulating knowledge of the secrets of the meadows and woods, and had an ear for the mysteries of the sea, of the forests, and the moss-coated rocks." In late September of 1838, Russell visited Ralph Waldo Emerson, and they spent some time botanizing together. And Emerson wrote about the visit in his journal, saying, "A good woodland day or two with John Lewis Russell, who came here and showed me mushrooms, lichens, and mosses. A man in whose mind things stand in the order of cause and effect, and not in the order of a shop or even of a cabinet." Almost 20 years later, Russell went to Concord and spent 3 days with Henry David Thoreau. It would not be the only time they spent together. Thoreau showed him around town and asked Russell all of his botanical questions. He specifically sought help with plant IDs. For Russell, the trip was made special by finding the climbing fern during one of their walks. Russell had a special lifelong interest in cryptogams like ferns, plants that reproduce using spores. As Russell's life was ending, he sent a number of charming letters to his younger family members. In a letter to his nephew, he wrote, "When this reaches you, spring will have commenced, and March winds will have awakened some of the sleeping flowers of the western prairies. while we shall be still among the snowdrifts of the tardy departing winter. As I have not learned to fly yet, I shall not be able to ramble with you after the pasque flower or anemone, nor find the Athronium albidum, nor the tiny spring beauty, nor detect the minute green mosses which will so soon be rising out of the ground. But I can sit by Stuart's coal burner in our sitting room and recall the days when we gathered Andromeda buds from the frozen bushes and traversed the ice-covered bay securely in the bright sunshine of the winter's day. I often long for a return of those Arcadian days. As I grow older, now 60 and nearly 10, every year interests me all the more in God's works and ways. Every little flower I meet with that I never saw before, every little insect is a novelty. The ever increasing discoveries of science and art awaken my admiration, heighten my awe, and lead me to adoring trust. I will not trouble you to write me, but I should like a spring flower which you gather. Any one will be precious from you to your feeble and sick old uncle and friend, J.L.R. And today is the anniversary of the death of the father of Texas botany and the legend, Ferdinand Jacob Lindheimer, who died on this day in 1879. Lindheimer immigrated from Frankfurt, Germany, and he spent more than a decade searching the wilds of central and southeast Texas for new species of plants. The botanist George Engelmann was a friend and fellow immigrant from Frankfurt. Engelmann introduced him to other botanists from around the world, and he helped Lindheimer process and identify his numerous specimens. In January of 1842, Lindheimer wrote Engelmann, "Herewith I am sending you 180 species of plants, most of which I collected in the spring of 1840. Send me the names soon so that I don't have to keep creating nicknames such as I've been using as an aid, especially for the grasses, for instance, narrow ear, panicle ear, long ear, twin ear, and so on." While botanizing in Texas, Lindheimer discovered several hundred new plant species, and many now bear his name. Over his lifetime, Lindheimer collected close to 100,000 plant specimens in Texas. And there are many incredible stories of Lindheimer's botanizing. Once he came across an Indian war party, and he ended up in a staring competition with the chief. Lindheimer won. Another time, Lindheimer became friends with the Comanche chief Santana, who wanted to trade Lindheimer 2 mules and a Mexican girl for his blue-eyed, blonde-haired grandson. Lindheimer politely declined the offer. In Unearthed Words, here's a poem by Christina Georgina Rossetti called The Months. January, cold and desolate. February, dripping wet. March wind ranges. April changes. Birds sing in tune to flowers of May. And sunny June brings longest day. In scorched July, the storm clouds fly. Lightning torn, August bears corn. September fruit, in rough October, earth must disrobe her. Stars fall and shoot in keen November. And night is long, and cold is strong, in bleak December. It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, Garden Lust by Christopher Woods. The subtitle to this book is A Botanical Tour of the World's Best New Gardens, and it is a fascinating and glorious armchair read to the most incredible gardens of our lifetime. The cover of this 416-page book shows a garden that's at the Golden Rock Inn in Nevis. Miami-based designer Raymond Jungles designed the gardens under the stewardship of New York artists Helen and Bryce Marden, the owners of Golden Rock. And that's just one of the gardens featured in this book. After a long career in public horticulture, Chris Woods spent 3 years traveling the world seeking out contemporary gardens, and he found 50 of the best. His book is a botanical tour of the world's best new gardens, public, private, and corporate. And Chris focuses on the gardens around the world that have been created or significantly altered this century, the 21st century. Chris views the gardens through a variety of themes, including beauty, conservation, architecture, plant and landscape, as well as urban spaces. Chris's book was published in late September, and it's such a great reminder for us to get out of our own gardens and see and learn from other gardens, especially the gardens that are in public spaces. And here's today's recommended holiday gift for gardeners. It's Crabtree and Evelyn's Gardener's Hand Cream. You can get a 25 milliliter tube for just $10 on their website. It's my favorite hand cream. It's got a buttery texture, not greasy, and it provides super rich moisture for your hands. It's botanical goodness, and there's a link to it in today's show notes. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. As we begin December, you may be wondering what December's birth flower is. Well, it's no surprise that the December birth flower is the poinsettia. Poinsettia is botanically known as the Euphorbia pulcherrima. Pulcherrima means very beautiful. Like all euphorbias, the poinsettia has milky sap, and the Aztecs used the sap as medicine to control fevers, and the red bracts were used to make a reddish dye. In the 1820s, President John Quincy Adams appointed the botanist Joel Roberts Poinsett to serve as a U.S. ambassador in Mexico. Poinsett soon observed a shrub on the side of the road, and it caught his eye. You can about imagine. He excitedly sent specimens to his friends, and the poinsettia became a sensation. Over 10 years later, English newspapers were reporting Poinsettia pulcherrima, the bracts which surround the numerous flowers, are the most brilliant rosy crimson color, the splendor of which is quite dazzling. Few, if any, of the most highly valued beauties of our gardens can vie with this. Indeed, when we take into consideration the profuse manner in which it flowers, the luxuriance of its foliage, and the long duration of the bracts, we are not aware that there is any plant more deserving of a place in all select collections than this lovely and highly prized stranger. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org, and be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.